Hey everybody, this is Electronic Warfare Studios. I am Man is Obsolete. I'm here with Chief Naka and the Scorpion. We're going to do a little review and discussion on Saints Row the Third. We all just got finished playing with it. We played some co-op, so we're going to share some of our likes and dislikes about the game. So, Chief, why don't we start off with you? Just kind of start off with what you liked about the game.
The game is super fun. It never gets boring. It's one of those games where replay possibilities is immense in regards to just the storylines, and I mean, of course, it has a ton of funny dialogue too, which I mean kept me laughing through most of the single player and co-op and everything like that.
Yeah, I would definitely say the game was definitely a lot of fun. There's definitely a lot of things happening in the game. There's a lot of great variety that kept those things fun as well. So for me, the variety in the game with the not just the side missions and things like that that you can do to occupy your time but also the variety in the single player missions were really cool and those kept the action really good and the going really well and the story going, but it also made it interesting because with some open world games I get really bored with them, and with this one I didn't find myself getting bored at all. So the fun just kept coming, and the variety played a lot with that for me.
Yeah, I think another thing we're all kind of big on is music here, and I can definitely say
Hmm.
Saints Row the Third. I mean, had a great variety of music. They had different stations with different type of genres, but they had a little bit of everything for everyone, and that was something that I like. But another thing that was kind of added in between some of the songs sometimes were the news commentary that was going on.
Yeah.
And not only was it funny, but I think it was kind of cool how they made it relevant to the story that was actually going on. For instance, if you had like this huge fight with one of the gangs, or after you finished a certain mission, the news
Definitely.
would come on and kind of say, hey, this happened here, this went down, and they throw in their little quirky remarks and everything. But that kind of made me chuckle every now and then. But I mean, cruising the streets, it always helped having some good music to roll to.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that I found really cool about the game was the overall customization, and the integration of your particular character. Customization as far as like, what your guy looks like is, what does he got
Yeah.
muscles? Does he got tan lines? All this other
Yeah, you
stuff.
can
So
completely customize them however you want, so it's
yeah,
pretty cool. And the great thing that you're talking about that with that as well is like integrating that character back into the story as well. Because like if there's a lot of cutscenes into the game, but those cutscenes feature your character in
yeah,
the clothes that you put them in as well. So
right.
that's really cool.
That was cool to see.
Definitely. So speaking of clothes, there's a lot to complete in the game, and clothes is just kind of one of those things. Like you go around and buying clothing stores and buying other stores and things like that, and buying those stores like gains you control over a section or like a hood, I guess you will, or a district and so forth. And you're trying to control all these areas and then once you start controlling those areas, you start to see your people start showing up in those areas as well, which is really cool. So for a completionist, there's a lot to this game because you have to complete side missions to gain control of areas. You have to beat gangs to gain control of areas. You have to purchase buildings. So there's a lot to complete in the game, and beyond that, you also have a lot of other things to do, like how many mascots you kill. There's a
Yeah.
metric for that. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the game, and if you're a completionist, this is a game.
Yeah, speaking of lots going on, I think I'm sure this is one of Alan's favorite things, but there's a lot of like over the top action,
For
and
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you could cruise the streets and just be good and not do anything, but heck, if you want to fight, I mean, it's easy to pick a fight with either the cops or any of the other gangs going on, and I mean, it's nonstop action if you really want it to be. I'm talking about like, you got grenades, launchers, helicopters, tanks, and it's not just like the realistic. You got the whole ragdoll thing going, so if you get hit, I
Yeah.
mean, you're flying across, the whole road. I mean, it's really fun. It's cool to see. I mean, some of these weapons, a little bit more mature than others, but it just makes it all fun. It's got like it's
Not
I
referring to
know
the dildo back
exactly what I'm referring
there.
to. I didn't want to say anything, but like GTA takes a little bit more of a serious note, even though it could be a lot of fun too. But to
Right.
me, Saints Row the Third, I mean, it just seemed like it had more of a comic relief to me, and it takes a different approach, but it works, and it's a lot of fun, and I think the action is just it's fun, but it's cool, and it's I don't know, like I said, it's over the top, but it works, and it's a lot of fun to see during the whole game.
Oh yeah, big explosions, my type of thing.
And the combat's easy too. It's not like it's complicated or it never seems to get in the way of the action. So I
Yep.
should say.
Fire bullets. Anyway, the actually another thing that I actually wouldn't like to touch on too is actually just the vocal acting in the game. I mean, for some of you who were anticipating the game and things like that, you kind of already knew like kind of quote unquote bigger names were in the game, such as like Hulk Hogan is in the game. Sasha Grey, for some of you folks who may or may not know what she did in a prior life, so to speak. But she's in the game as well.
See what
Yeah,
you
exactly.
might have to go somewhere else besides YouTube, but
Yeah, exactly. Websites that we don't cover. But yeah, no, I mean, like folks like that are in the game, like people who are kind of, I guess, pop culture
yeah,
icons, I guess you could call them.
Yep.
I mean, they're in the game, and I mean, I think that definitely adds to the story. It makes it have more of a kind of a movie feel to it, I guess you could say. Instead of just like generic folks who are just not that actors are generic folks, but just generic folks who they just kind of came out of a casting agency going, "Oh, you sound right."
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. So that's a great list of likes. The game is a lot of fun, obviously, and there's a lot to like in the game. But of course, every game is not perfect. So every game has some things that we kind of dislike as well. So Scorp, why don't you get in a little bit like what you didn't like? Because I know there's a big part of the game that was kind of missing that you felt.
Yeah, I mean, not to take away from the multiplayer or the co-op, should I say, of Saints Row the Third, because it works very well and it's a lot of fun when you get to play with somebody else. But coming from somebody, I know me and Alan, Chief, me and Chief played, me and Chief played a lot of GTA multiplayer, and we just have a blast driving around acting retarded. So
Diving out
it was a little disappointing to not be able to see more than two people online at one time. I mean, you have this nice big city and a lot of fun. We talked about all the great stuff that's in the game. It's not something you just, want to keep between two people. I mean, you want to share all that fun with as many people as you can at one time. But to me, if anything, and it's not like it made or broke the game for me. I would still buy the game regardless. But that was probably the bigger disappointment for me.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, especially in light of the fact that Saints Row 2 had an actual multiplayer, which kind of made it kind of go, oh, well, how come it wasn't in the third?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
But yeah, actually speaking of the co-op, I mean it's a great co-op. But one thing that I've noticed in playing with Obsolete as well as Scorp, the game can get kind of hitchy and laggy at some points. Even in single player mode, because me and Obsolete were talking about it before and saying that actually we've been noticing, at least in the few days that we've been playing it beforehand, that the game kind of lags a little bit and there's some weird issues that come around. But I mean, is it because of the online mode? Probably not. I mean, it's more or less just probably game data that's loading up and what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the only other kind of annoyance, I guess.
Yeah.
It's more of a minor annoyance than anything.
It can be glitchy for sure. I mean, there are some frame rate issues like you were talking about, and there's some pop-in that does occur a little bit as well. But one of the things that kind of was my biggest gripe with the game, it might be my biggest gripe in the game actually, is the like you get to call in vehicles and so forth. Like you can call in a car and pick which car you want your homies to bring to you. Yes, a homie brings it to you. So you can also ask a homie to bring a air vehicle to you as well. Well, the problem with that is that they're not very bright because it's AI. So they try to land these things in the most ridiculous places ever, and you have to pretty much be in a freaking cornfield that's been mowed down to for them to land a helicopter or something. I kid you not, I have a clear area around me, and the only thing in the area that they can land it in is a tree, and I kid you not, they land it in a tree. So it's the most annoying part of it is that what ends up happening, you can't call in another vehicle right away, so you have to wait. There's a cooldown on it, like 5 or 10 minutes, maybe even longer. It's longer than you want to sit around and wait for, so you eventually just have to find a car to hijack, and hopefully you can get a fast car. But that's
Oh,
probably
DK.
my biggest gripe with that carries over between online and single player as well.
I
That's
mean, do
probably
you
my biggest
think it,
gripe.
it has to deal with like your surroundings? Like, do you think it's probably easier
It
for them
def
to land it if you're in an open area as
it
opposed to
definitely
like?
is, but how many open areas are there in the game?
Well,
And
yeah, I
the
mean
one
that's what
time
I'm
I was
saying.
in an open area, I kid you not, he landed it in a tree, and that's the only thing he possibly could have landed it on. And he
Wow.
kept going back up and down into the tree and up and down into the tree, like he was humping
Ew.
the tree or something. And I couldn't get it. He wouldn't land the thing. So it was just pissing me off. I had to leave. So,
See, that's why it's like after a certain point, I took out a rocket launcher and just busted them. That was about it. I was like, forget it. I'll just
I've seen him land
carjack
it on.
somebody.
I've been in an open area before, and they would land it on a freeway. It just got annoying. So whatever.
He's touching on the whole hitchy, glitchy thing. I mean, I guess a couple of us experienced a few freezes, not just online, but even offline. And I know the other day, me and Chief were playing online co-op, and even though he wasn't seeing it on his screen, I was telling him that I was actually seeing some weird holographic-looking tiles on the floor. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just like you're rolling, and like certain big square tiles on the streets just turn into like a orangey neon like holographic looking tile. I mean, it was really
Yeah.
weird. And,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only time I ever experienced that one
I
time.
think
But
they
just
call
really
that like
weird.
textures not loading in or something.
Yeah,
Like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was weird because like it was only when I would drive like past it, like you know what I'm saying. Like it wasn't like that the whole time. Like I would pass it and then it would turn and it would go back to normal.
Like a very specific spot almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh,
But I
interesting.
mean, it was just really weird. I'd never seen anything like I've seen textures not loading and they just stay like that. This one was
Yeah.
like they would turn when I would get past it a certain.
Oh, really?
But yeah,
That's
so it
interesting.
was really weird.
So okay, so I think it goes without saying the likes really outweigh some of the dislikes. It's kind of nitpicky, some of our dislikes are. But having said that, we all got a chance to play through the entire game. We got a chance to play through a lot of the co-op together and as well. So we got a good look at the game. Like I said, I put 30 hours into it, and I'm sure you guys, Alan, or you must be even further than that, maybe, or close to that. But so you put a lot of time
I've completed it 3 times. So.
so on, I guess if you were recommending this to another person or to the people out there that are watching this, I mean, what would you say as far as this game? What would you say to them?
I say don't buy it. No, I'm kidding. Considering I completed the game 3 times, yeah. No, it's definitely it's definitely check it out if nothing else. Because I mean, if with all the likes that we have, I mean, you'll find a way to have fun in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're a fan of open world games and shooter like third person type shoot 'em ups, I mean, I would definitely give this game a go. I've had a tremendous time playing this game. It's been a ton of fun.
Can't put it down.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, if you're looking for a time waster as well, I mean, this is a good time waster. I mean, you can just sit around and do absolutely nothing in the game and still have fun. You know, you don't even have to do any of the missions just run around and just cause chaos. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It's fun. So I would
Yeah, like-
say yeah.
Like Chief does, yes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not typically a big fan of open world games. I usually get pretty bored with them. Probably my favorite open world game of this generation had nothing to do with Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead. It was actually Infamous because the action was there to support the story and things like that. So it felt like a really fun game, and you upgraded your abilities and so forth. And that same upgrade aspect is there to this game as well, and like in the completion aspect of it, like you were saying, you could literally spend hours doing what feels like nothing because you're not progressing the story at all. But so that's just a lot of fun. And coming from a person who typically gets bored with open world games, I mean, this game was fun from start to finish, and everything in between. I still have fun with the game. I still want to pick it back up and complete all those extra side missions and things like that I haven't got a chance to complete yet. So, and discover all the little things hidden around. So that's a big testament to this game that was able to pull me in and keep me playing.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't even finish Red Dead, and which is a sin for a lot of gamers I know. But yeah, so I love the game. I would highly recommend it to anybody for sure.
He likes the action.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, get out there and buy it. It's typically on sale a lot of places, but I would still recommend buying it at full price. I'm sure these guys recommend doing the same and have done the same for that matter. So yeah, Chief, you want to tell them where you can follow us at?
Yeah, actually, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, our own website. pretty much, it's just twitter.com, youtube.com, / eWarfare Studios. Make sure to follow us, like us, comment on our videos and everything like that. We appreciate and we appreciate all the views.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, definitely. Peace out.
Right up.